I know I shouldn't smoke weed. I really shouldn't. It's one of the sins that led to capital punishment in the Old Testament. God forbids the use of drugs that are used for the purpose of hallucinogenic experiences. It's pharmakia, witchcraft. Weed is one of them, even if it doesn't feel like it, since it seems to be the mildest of the hallucinogenic drugs. It's not just a plant, bro. Having said that, one day I went to purchase it, and who I thought to be a dealer stole my money. What he did was wrong. However, I should have not been there. God allowed evil to happen to me while I was doing evil. There's a story in Judges, chapter 19, about a Levite's concubine who got brutally gang raped and died because of it. But here's the tricky part. Her and the Levite were only in that place because she had previously been sent away by her husband, the Levite, because she had cheated on him. And so, I think, this is my opinion, that since she went to look for another man, God allowed for her to fall into that kind of evil, where she got all the other men she wanted, but in a brutal way. Her evil was repaid with evil. As insensitive as I might be coming across, if she hadn't cheated, she would not have been in that situation. Therefore, she kind of brought it on herself. Don't we all do that? Can't we all trace the tragedies in our lives to a sin we committed previously? How did we get to that situation? What's the root? Look, I don't know. Maybe she got jealous that her husband was allowed to sleep with other people, since she was only a concubine, not the main wife, and so she did the same. But they had an agreement, and she broke it. It might have started with jealousy, envy, then fantasies, then a sense of entitlement. I'm not judging her. It's how things were at the time. I believe it should be as God said, one man for one woman. Period. And so her sin of comparison, of covetousness grew. She did what she did, and that allowed her to fall into the claws of the evil one, Satan. We cannot, I repeat, we cannot foresee the consequences of our wrongdoings, of our thrill-seeking by any means necessary. Like a socialite who had Valium in her system while drunk and decided to race her boyfriend, leading to a hit-and-run and manslaughter of 2 little boys. We cannot. Now what? Do we act like victims? All I did was poke you with a toothpick. Why did you stab me with a sword? Why did you poke him initially? That's the true question. There's no degree of sin. I mean, there is. Or else every sin would be worthy of capital punishment. But we don't know how things might escalate or the villains or heroes we might give birth to. God in the Old Testament told us to pay an eye for an eye because revenge tends to get out of proportion. And so, at least, with a tooth for a tooth, people wouldn't kill each other for minor disagreements. However, God tends to wait for the opportune moment to make us pay for all the eyes we should have lost. Therefore, getting away with something should be more terrifying than suffering the immediate consequences of it. I know it's hard to apologize, especially to someone who we think deserves it or who we consider to be below us. It's extremely humiliating. However, we cannot forget that we humiliated that other person. So, it's better if we take the initiative rather than hoping that things will figure themselves out. Because they won't. And that's guaranteed. The full circles I had in my life. It's spooky, man. It makes me hate myself for harboring resentment and for wanting vengeance by my own hands because God will repay. He most certainly will. Defend yourself if necessary, but seriously, turn the other cheek. You'll only corrupt your soul, not gain respect from disrespectful people. Trust. A lot of fights with my brother could have been prevented if I just turned the other cheek, but my ego got in the way. Now I've got scars that I didn't need to have. But I'll gain a new body anyway, so that path you're on only leads to destruction. You may think you have control over it. It's just this time or a couple of times a week. It won't matter. Everything accumulates, and one day it will spill over in ways that you could have never imagined. But anyway, let's make no excuses. You knew very well what you were getting into.